Welcome to the Jake Sewell Podcast. On today's episode, I have the president and founder of Once Upon a Plate Catering, Victoria Brewer. Victoria, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out. It's crazy. We went to the same high school. We were 1 year apart. We were all the same people. Go to the same establishments, but we've never met. How's that even possible?
Busy paths, I guess.
Yeah. About 3 weeks ago, you catered a lunch at where I work, and it was a taco bar, and it was fantastic. So, first of all, the food is excellent at your catering business. But it's funny, someone was eating, oh, this food's so good. And like, yeah, I just heard about Victoria's business. It seems like she just blew up overnight. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I bet that's not entirely true. What were you doing before the catering business took off a couple years ago?
Yeah, it is true that I did blow up overnight. It was insane. But before I started catering, I actually went to college to be a dental hygienist. And during that process, I worked in a lot of dental offices. Through college, I was a nanny and wound up back in Muncie and started working as a bartender part-time. In addition to the nanny jobs, I was working as a nanny during the day, bartending at night, and one thing led to another. I was a dietary manager for a nursing home community, and that kept me in the food industry. Kind of phased out the nannying into the food industry / bar industry, and another opportunity presented itself for me to do some catering on the side instead of bartending. So that's kind of how it all got started. I was working for someone else catering, and I really enjoyed it. And then I thought, well, I'm doing this for this person, and I would love to do it on my own. So decided to open my own.
When you were working on the side in the catering, were you doing the cooking or more the logistics or all the above?
A little bit of everything. Most of the events I was from start to finish. I was meeting with some of the clients. I was establishing their menus. I was doing some of their tastings, and then actually the day of their events or weddings or whatever that is, actually orchestrating and making sure everything was going well. Occasionally staffing. Just doing a little bit of all of it, and turned into, I think I could do this on my own.
Yeah. At what point did you just wake up one day and say, I could just do this for myself instead of for someone else? Or what was kind of the tipping point to start the business?
I'll never forget that. It was November of, let's see, it's 2019 now. So that would have been November of 2016. And we were getting really close to the holidays, and my daughter was 3 years old, and I was just thinking, okay, I have to work so many extra hours to be able to provide a great Christmas for her. And I was knowing going into having done this catering before, I knew December was going to be insane, which meant I was also going to miss out on a lot of holiday traditions with her. So in November, I approached two of my great friends to be investors and said, I want to do this after the first of the year, but I have to wait until the first of the year so I can get through Christmas and provide for her. So it was just kind of like I wanted to take it to the next level, and I was stuck. I was stuck with their menu. I was stuck with their processes, and I really wanted to just give Muncie something a step up and a step above and provide that service and different kinds of foods and things like that. So that's where it all kind of came to fruition.
Now you say, you listen, you got a couple investors. What other steps does it take to start a food service business like catering?
So the very first process, you have to establish your business as an LLC, an S Corp, whatever you decide to do, which most people know that. And then after I got the investors, you have to wait until you have a kitchen that's certified and approved by the health department and inspected. And then you have to hold a food handler's permit, which is a Serve Safe permit. And then you just have to get your permit through the health department to work out of your certified kitchen. So, and then along comes with that the equipment that you need, your pots and pans and cooking equipment, insurance policy for renting the facility we were renting. So it kind of all, a lot of research, and where do I start and where do I go from here was basically the beginning of 2017.
Yeah, it sounds like a big leap of faith. I mean, my wife and I started a photography business, but other than the photography gear and a website, we don't have any brick and mortar, we don't have any employees. I mean, how much, not money, but just time and energy, and how do you go about finding a kitchen and the equipment?
I was very fortunate. We actually were with Cornerstone for the first 2 years of our business. Cornerstone Center for the Arts was great for us. They also agreed in the beginning that they didn't think this was going to be as big as it was, and we had some hiccups, trying to make our schedule jive with theirs because their events took priorities over mine, which is great. It's understandable. We're just renting their space, but it was a little bit crazy thinking, okay, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do this on the weekends. And then after, I would say March of the first year, we just exploded, and then I had to start hiring people and trying to balance all of that. It got a little bit crazy for a while, but year 2 I found my manager Angie, and she's been fantastic and made it possible for me to juggle all this and not have to do it all myself. So
how did you handle that rapid growth? Because that's one challenge a lot of businesses face is they want business and they're trying to get out there, and then boom, they have more than they can handle.
Honestly, we did have more than we could handle, and it was overwhelming. It was stressful. I still work my full-time job at Meridian Health Services and was at that time, and it was a lot of just asking for help, hiring people. I wasn't sure, pay rates or anything like that because I initially started this thinking I was going to do it all myself. So just a matter of, okay, on Sunday I need to sit down, look at my week, and write down my events and find out what day we need to go to the store, what day do we need to order a food truck, what days do we need to rent the kitchen, just pretty much taking Sundays as planning days and trying to make sure everything's in order. Then it grew to, okay, people are calling on Mondays for things on Wednesdays or Thursdays through the week instead of just weekends, which is why I brought Angie on board. It actually worked out perfectly. She had another opportunity that wasn't what she expected, and she came to me, and we've been friends for a long time, but just to bring her in as my manager has been such a blessing and able to help me manage and maintain all of this, so not fall apart and derail.
Yeah. What was kind of your first year expectations, and what did you end up doing?
It's funny you asked that question. My insurance agent would tell you this. We sat down in order to write my policy. I had to give them a rough idea how many events I would do. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, the last 2 or 3 years with this other catering company, I did X amount. And I said, I'm new. Nobody knows who I am. There's probably going to be some backlash from breaking off with the other company. Let's go with maybe 30 events. And that very first year, we finished out with over 100 events. So it was honestly, Taste of Muncie was a huge, huge tipping point for us. We won 3 out of the 5 categories in our first Taste of Muncie as Once Upon a Plate. So that was really huge. And then, of course, Chamber Cup from the Muncie, Delaware County Chamber of Commerce. We entered that as a whole sponsor and got to meet a lot of people and interact with a lot of people, get our name out there. And then it just kind of went from there. I think Taste of Muncie was our big, hit it big, And then we also ended up with Muncie area's finest. So just kind of one thing after another.
So you did really no advertising?
We have not done any advertising.
No
this
paid
is
advertising,
all word of mouth. I am in the Northern Wards of Yorktown magazine. A friend of mine manages that, and we put an ad in there once a week, but it's just distributed in Yorktown. So we don't pay for any marketing anywhere. It's all word of mouth.
Yeah, that's the powerful thing about social media nowadays is if it's utilized right, and you get a good word out there or win awards, obviously it seems like that can take a business off more than paid advertisement.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned you were in Cornerstone for 2 years. Do you have a new location?
Yes, we purchased a building last May, which would have been in 2018. It is the Old Lee's Chicken off of Memorial, 300 West Memorial's the address, and it's been under construction since May. We actually just a couple weeks ago were approved by the health department to start working out of there. So it's been a long process, but we're glad to be there. We're glad to be on South Muncie and support that side of town. And so far, everything's been great there.
What are the benefits of having your own kitchen?
Everything. We don't have to pack up our equipment and take it somewhere. We don't have to worry about, only on the days we're working, we have to pack up and leave. We also don't have to share our kitchen anymore, which we were with 3 or 4 other caterers or, around Cornerstone events, things like that. And we can go in at any hour of the day that we want to work. So at Cornerstone, we were only allowed during their business hours. And, in catering, sometimes we do have to go in at 4 or 5 in the morning for a breakfast or stay till midnight working on something for the next day. So just to be able to have that flexibility in hours is a blessing in itself. Also, I run a pretty tight ship keeping our kitchen clean. So we are all on our own as far as that goes. We don't have other people coming in with clutter or not cleaning up after themselves. So all in all, it's been super awesome.
How many employees do you have?
Oh, goodness. I have 4 full-time. I have 25 on payroll. A lot of those are different because on the weekends, I might have 3 or 4 weddings on a Saturday and have 3 or 4 people at each one. And most of those servers or bartenders have full-time jobs that they work during the week and they help out on the weekends for extra money. So we currently have 25 on payroll. We just brought 4 more on for the new business prep to help on Sundays and get that stuff going. So I started with 2, myself and Angie, and I'm very, very fortunate. All the girls that have been with me since we started or since I started hiring help have stayed. So very loyal employees, very, very awesome.
Yeah, that's the key. Now, obviously you do catering, but could you go into more detail what you guys offer when it comes to food, bar?
Sure. Yeah. So we try to customize every menu around most budgets. I like to tell people we have something for everyone. We can do anything from a taco bar to a plated filet dinner. We can do anything that our customers dream of. We even have done some ethnic type foods or party themed type foods from like New Orleans, things like that. We do bar service as well. That's just a cash bar. We could do open bar, partial host. There's a lot of flexibility and variety there. And those can be either at big events or in someone's home as far as catering and bar service. We've had several private clients that have parties in their homes that either 5 or 10 people are getting together for a dinner party. They just don't want to have to mess with serving drinks, so we send a bartender to use their items, things like that. We have also done some special prom dinners. My boss Scott Smallstick at Meridian, I actually did the prom dinner for his daughter last year at their home. So instead of going out, we had a house full of 18-year-olds ready for prom. They had a great dinner at their house. So even though it's catering, we do a lot more than just set up buffets and big events, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the typical wedding food you'd get.
Yeah.
Now, are a lot of the recipes yours or the cooking done by you?
Most of the recipes are mine, and if not, the employees do follow my recipes. There's some requests that we do have to look some things up, but we also look up something that might be good and add our own twist to it or try to tweak it to make it something that did come from us originally. I don't like to, a lot of people use like Pinterest and things like that. It's great for inspiration, but it's also difficult to make some of that, I guess. It's really, some of it's not tangible. You see, Pinterest is like ruined by industry. All these brides get on Pinterest and say, I want these tacos stuffed in Patron bottle lids. And it's like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, especially for a couple hundred guests.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit of everything. I've grown up in a family that has always enjoyed cooking. We always enjoy entertaining. My dad's actually vice president of a seasoning and marinade company, so we have a curve on that all of our seasoning and marinades are custom from Excalibur Seasoning, so not anybody in town has access to those. So
that's a benefit. Now, obviously, everyone wants to eat healthy. Do you guys get a lot of requests with the new diets like the keto, the Atkins, gluten-free?
We do, yeah. I never knew there were so many gluten-free people in the world until I started catering. And we are able to accommodate those needs. We're actually doing an entire vegetarian wedding here coming up soon where every dish needs to be vegetarian and also gluten-free. So yes, we can accommodate those allergies or diet preferences. We're not so much focused on that for the meal prep service at this time, just because there are so many, and that would turn into more of like a custom chef type, private chef type of relationship, I think. But for now, we're trying to keep it as gluten-free as possible and let our clients know these are gluten-free, these are not gluten-free. But that seems to be a general consensus that either people are dieting and not including gluten, which would be a keto or low carb diet, or they actually have the allergy. So we do try to at least make that more into our dishes than anything, because it is so common and popular.
You mentioned the meal prep. I saw a flyer where I work out at Mercix talking about you do meal prep. What all does that entail, and what services is that?
So Prepped came along because I am a busy person and I am cooking for everyone else. I don't take the time to cook for my daughter and I. So I actually ran a test run of this business 2 years ago when I first started catering, just to see if there was a need. I know there used to be some other companies in town that used to prepare meals, not necessarily the way I'm doing it, but there was meals you could buy that were ready for you and your families to just heat and eat. And there's also all these delivery services like HelloFresh and Blue Apron and all those things like that all of my friends and family are utilizing. So Prepped came about. It is healthy, pre-packaged, pre-portioned meals, and originally it was for fitness-minded people. So we wanted to offer. It just seems to be trendy that people are trying to lose weight, stay healthy, and there's no convenience in that as far as eating healthy. And most of these people have to take hours on a Sunday to prep their own meals, and they don't do it. And so I saw an opportunity and we started meal prepping, offering these healthy prepackaged portion meals. We brought on a dietitian to make sure everything's balanced, to help us kind of put together the nutritional information for these meals. And we wanted to offer something that you could just take home or take to work and microwave it and call it a day. You don't have to prep anything. You just literally heat it and eat it. And then that turned into, well, I want these meals for my family, but I don't want to buy 4 portions singly. So we added on meals for 2 and family portions of these healthy meals. We're trying to keep it simple and healthy, but also enjoyable, savory for families. But we'll see what happens with that. We're kind of testing 7 weeks of menus to see where people are at with it.
How does that work? Do they email you, or do you have like a request page on your website, or they call?
We're starting week 3, and I again did not want to know. I didn't know what was going to happen with this, so we were testing it. There is a website being built. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on building this website and then this flop, because it is expensive to build these websites, to have payment options and change the menus every week, and just ordering in general is expensive to build a website. So we wanted to run this and see the process, what people prefer over, okay, let's jump in and spend the money and then spend more money editing. So currently right now they can email orders to me until the website's finished, and we do take payments from PayPal. And we ask that the meals be paid for ahead of time, just because some people will order and then they don't show up to pick them up, and then I'm stuck with the meals. So that's the only reason we do the pay ahead thing. But yes, Once Upon a Plate Catering Facebook page has the information and the menus every week. I'm trying to distribute them to corporations every week so they can put them in their break rooms and have my contact information on there. It will be streamlined eventually and much easier eventually, but for now it's just email and orders. Then I email back the payment details and pickup details. So
how's it been going? Is it taking off?
It's fantastic. Week 1, we had 250 clients, and I'm doing week 2 this Sunday. We have 310 clients. So it was a huge, and then week 3 is already surpassing what I thought it would as well. So that order is out now.
Is there a kind of a average client, I guess you would say? Is it the busy working mom? Is it the busy maybe
It's
business
funny.
guy that doesn't have time to cook, or is it a broad range of
I
people?
have seen all over the board. We've had some of our Muncie Fire Department in because they have to provide their own meals while they're working. We've had stay-at-home moms come in. They feed their kids chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese all day, and they want something healthy for themselves to heat up quickly that they don't have to put extra efforts into. I've got moms that have children that work full-time that they want to have something great for their kids to eat, and they go home, pop it in the oven, and it's ready to go. And we've also hit the Indianapolis market now. We're actually delivering to Fisher's in Indianapolis on Monday. So I've seen everything. There was a guy that came in to pick up his order last week, and I didn't know who he was. I don't know how they found me. It's just another word of mouth thing. And he said, I'm really not sure how my wife found Victoria. He said, but I'm sure glad she did. He said, she stays at home all day with the kids, and she doesn't cook. So he was really happy to have a cooked meal to take to work for lunch or have for dinner. But it's a wide range of everyone.
It gets old going to fast food like you said, meal prep for some families. There's just not enough time in the day for them.
Or space, storing all that. It's really important to me to offer these healthy meals. I want to be a product of my product. Weight loss has always been on my radar. I just don't have time to put in it. I don't self-care at all. But we wanted to offer healthy meals, hearty meals at value meal pricing. So you could not eat at McDonald's for $6.75 anymore for a value meal. I mean, truly, with your drink and everything. That was what our first week of meals, they were $6.75 each. So $36, you have 5 lunches or 5 dinners for yourself. And you don't have to shop. You don't have to prep.
Yeah, it's good home cooked food. Now, I'm sure every day for you is different, but do you kind of have a set routine each week of how to deal with clients, deal with your employees, get your food prepped and all that?
I really like to call it organized chaos. I don't have a routine because, again, every week is different. Every day is different. It depends on the amount of events we're doing. I am blessed in that I do still hold that full-time job at Meridian, so that is more of my routine than anything. I take my daughter to preschool at 7:45. I go to work. I put in my hours at Meridian. We're actually working on a huge gala right now, Rialzo, our biggest fundraiser of the year. So that consumes my 8 to 5, I guess, if you'd call it that. Occasionally I take a lunch to meet some clients as far as catering goes, maybe meet them at Starbucks or something quickly down the road to come back to work. But I do a lot of the Once Upon a Plate and prep things after those 8 to 5 hours, just take my laptop home and I give Hadley the most time I can, normal parenting hours as far as we do dinner together, we play together, we, bath time and all that stuff. So usually after she goes to bed is when I get the most work done for my other businesses and laundry and all the other fun stuff that comes with that. So I would love to have a routine. I think that it will be easier once I have some other, I guess, delegating is finished for me. I've not done well at delegating because I've always done it myself and it's been my way.
Your way or the highway?
Yeah.
Everyone wants help, but it has to control. I understand that.
It's nerve-wracking to rely on people to care about your business and put as much into your business as you have. I mean, that truly could make or break
It's your livelihood.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do struggle with that. And again, Angie's fantastic, my manager, and I do have great staff. It's hard to trust people with everything I've built. So
I like what you said there. You talked about all the success you had, and you still work 8 to 5, and then you put the hours in at night. And so many people, I'm sure, look at your business like, oh, she just started this business, and it just the hours you put in behind the scenes and what people don't see is
absolutely early mornings. I sleep with a notepad next to my bed. I wake up at night and think, oh my gosh, I forgot to order this. Like last night we had a Valentine's dinner and I completely forgot to order the dessert. So I was up trying to struggle and figure out how I was going to pull that off, but we did it and it was no problem. But it's a lot of after hours stuff or early morning stuff for now.
How many hours of sleep you get a night?
Not much. I've actually been tracking it on my Fitbit just because I was curious. 5 or 6 hours is generous. I've never been a great sleeper anyways, but at least my friends and I joke that these bags under my eyes are designer. We don't sleep much, and that's part of having a 5-year-old and all the other stuff too. So
It's funny you mentioned Scott Smallstick. He was actually one of my Little League coaches
Yes.
way back in the day, and I met him at Elm Street for a couple drinks back in December, and I was telling him about this podcast, and you were one of the first people he mentioned. I was like, yeah, I get this idea. Obviously I want to have Scott on. We're working on scheduling that. I said, I just want people to have a story or business owners in the community. He goes, Victoria.
Scott's notorious for doing those things for me. It's very kind, but he's like, Victoria, I need you to do my my speech in front of all these new hires for asking for donations. I love Scott. He's great.
And now, speaking of Scott and Meridian, and maybe this is putting you on the spot, do you see yourself in the future going full-time with the catering?
Absolutely, and I think they know that. I'm a very loyal person. I'm a very dedicated person. Timing, it would have made sense a long time ago to be done with Meridian and put more efforts and time into my business, but I have been it's seriously given me enough time to still put my efforts into Meridian and have Angie do everything for me for Once Upon a Plate while I'm working there. I love Meridian and its purpose. I love what I do for Meridian. I love working for Scott. I have not put a timeline. I know that's a question I get all the time is when are you gonna quit? When are you gonna be done? And I haven't put pencil to paper on that yet. I still love my job and still love what I do, and it gives me an opportunity to it really is normal. I go and sit at a desk and I have a routine there, as opposed to, my phone ringing off the hook and emails coming in all the time, placing orders or wanting catering or wanting quotes or wanting to schedule a tasting. And Meridian is my normal, I guess.
Yeah. It was funny because Scott's like, yeah, I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep it Meridian, but we're trying to for as long as we can.
I was 40 hours up until last fall, and I went down to 32 hours. But if you think about it, that's still very full time. And yes, it's 32 hours I'm supposed to work, but there are a lot of days that it's still more than that. Especially with Rialzo going on, and I definitely always honor my commitments, and Meridian is a huge commitment for me. And Once Upon a Plate is a huge supporter of Meridian. We provide the wine on the tables for Rialzo each year for the last couple of years, and we also do some other events for them. We did Holidays at Gresham reception a couple of years ago, and try to help out with the maternal treatment program, graduation ceremonies and stuff. So it's a cause that's important to me, and even after my time is done there, whenever that is, I will still hope to be very involved with their purpose and making communities healthier. So
now you mentioned obviously weddings and corporate events. What other type of events do you cater, or are you looking to cater?
We've done a little bit of everything. Like I said, we do private parties in homes. We've done graduation parties, even funeral celebrations of life. I love the corporate stuff. We would do just about anything that needs catering. I'm doing coming up for Remax. They have an event coming up that's just an office celebration lunch, thank you lunch. We're really excited to get in with the Ball Brothers Foundation. We're going to do a lunch for them and a celebration for them, a reception. So all these nonprofits in town, we are willing to work with them and offer them great pricing, or some kind of trade, help out, stuff like that is really good for them and for us. Just some organizations haven't used us yet. They're stuck with the same people they've always used, and I think it's worth giving us a shot, at least to see what we have to offer and something different than they've had the last 10 years.
Another thing I see, and I think part of it's through your catering and Meridian, you're very active in the community.
Yes.
It seems like, like you mentioned, nonprofits. I know you did a thing with the YW. Because Kat Knox was my last guest, the director of marketing and development there. And what all activities do you do in the community, whether it be charity or nonprofit?
It's really important to me, and I would love to chalk up most of my success to being involved in the community. We don't necessarily volunteer a lot of this stuff, but we do jump in when it's needed. So many of these organizations are struggling, and it's hard for them to make ends meet. And we're not the company that says, oh yeah, we'll come and cater, but it's still going to be $3,000. And they're going, well, how are we going to afford that? It's something where we say, okay, I'll do it for cost. I'll donate the labor, and it will save you tons of money. And if that's still not something feasible for them, we'll say, okay, we can take it out in trade, you put some marketing out for us. I mean, we've been so flexible. It's not, to me, about the recognition for what we do. It is more important for me to see our communities thriving, however that is. These nonprofits are so important to Muncie, no matter what the cause is. United Way, YWCA, all of these, Meridian, A Better Way, every one of those organizations is important to Muncie and helping those in need in our community, which we serve a huge amount of people that are in need. So just my boss, Scott, again, has always told me, actually, he only told me one time, and it's really just stuck with me, that a community that lives together gives together. And that's something that just drove home for me, and one of my life mottos, and hope to just do the best I can to help make Muncie a better place.
Now, between your full-time job, the catering business, and being mom, do you ever get free time, and what do you like to do in that free time, if there is any free time?
There really is not much. Hadley consumes most of my free time. She's 5, so she really enjoys like Monkey Joe's and going to Indianapolis and doing stuff down there, like Sky Zone and stuff like that. When there is free time, we dedicate it to family mostly. Very once in a while, I'll get an evening out with my girlfriends. We like to go see the movies. We like to go to dinners, local places. Of course, wine and craft beer is usually a part of that, but there really isn't a lot of free time right now. Eventually, I'd love to travel. I like to read books when I do have time for that. So I don't really have much that we do outside of work. So.
Yeah. Well, at least there's plenty of wine and craft beer bars here in Muncie.
We love Elm Street.
Yes. There's a lot of great places now. Did you start the catering business because that's what you were familiar with? Because I'm sure a lot of people ask, everyone wants to start a restaurant, but a lot of people don't talk about the catering side of it. Is that kind of what got you in that direction?
Yeah, restaurant is a whole new set of headaches. It really is. That's managing more people, that's scheduling, that's menu. That's crazy. I'm actually involved right now helping to get a restaurant going, but after its development, it's not something that I'm sticking around for. It's just helping them get their menu together. They're actually in the process of construction, and that announcement should be coming soon to Muncie. It's going to be a great place on the south side. So the owner is actually really passionate about South Muncie and wants to revive it himself. So really excited to kind of give you a little teaser on that, but also have that announcement coming soon. I guess in catering, it's not so much about what we have to offer. I mean, it is, but I love going to these events, these weddings, these fundraisers, these everything. And it seriously excites me that whenever we take the lids off of these chafing dishes, that people go, oh my gosh, look at this. What is this? This is amazing. This tastes delicious. Look how great that looks. And it's just a whole different world than a restaurant. And you get to go and see these events and hear these causes and watch these people get married. And you're actually a huge part of that day and that memory that people have. So I love it. My another ongoing joke with my staff is I'm always the caterer, never the bride. So we'll see how long that sticks around. But it's fun. It's great to see those events get executed, I guess.
And I'm sure the reward from working for someone else and doing their work to doing your own work and getting that same feedback has to be
absolutely
basically,
yep.
Makes it worth it all.
You know that you did it, and obviously I give my staff tons of credit, most of the credit, 90%. I orchestrate a lot and do a lot of the ordering, but you have a lot of pride in that. You pride yourself and, oh my gosh, we did this. My team put this out. My team made this day perfect. That's something that I tell anybody that I hire from day one. On their first day on the job, it's usually a catering serving job. This is not the most important day in your life, but it's theirs, and we need to treat it that way. So
you mentioned you have such a loyal staff and very low turnover. That's one thing a lot of companies struggle with. Is there a process that you go through, or just have a knack for finding good help?
Honestly, Angie's found most of the help for us. Most of the girls have been a tight knit group of people for a lot of years. They've worked together for most of their lives, and having them on board and giving them this sense of pride and being a part of a company that's just they're helping in the success. And I'm only successful if they're successful. I mean, it is their opportunity to be successful with my company, and which in turn makes me successful. So they know they're very appreciated. Obviously, with the pay, I try to be very generous, but there's also other perks. We do outings and lunches and bonuses and things like that most people don't do for the service industry in general. And I don't think that's what makes them stay. I think that they really enjoy their work. It's a laid back environment. We're not too strict. I don't have to get on many people for much of anything. They know what they're supposed to do. They know my expectation, and I think they just enjoy being at these events as well. So
yeah, it seems like the food industry for a lot of people is just a passing. They just want to get in, get their paycheck, and move on to the next job.
Absolutely.
So retention is probably a big goal of yours.
Absolutely,
obviously.
yeah. I do want to keep all the girls and guys that are with us now, and it's important to me that they feel important and as big as a part of this as the next person that we hire. So, and I think they enjoy it too, knowing, like, especially my girls in the kitchen, they spend all day making this stuff, and then they see someone take a bite or someone go, oh my gosh, that was so good, and they know it's because of them.
Now you've had so much growth already, but where do you want to grow it, in 2019, 2020?
We are trying so hard to get into the Indianapolis market with catering. It's difficult down there. They have some awesome big hitter, great catering companies, but they also have a lot of venues that have in-house catering and no outside catering allowed. So just trying to find those venues that do allow outside catering and getting to know them. I don't have a lot of time personally to go down there and go venue to venue and drop off business cards and flyers and introduce myself. I would love to have that opportunity, but it's just not in the cards now. But we're on some Facebook pages and groups that are, indie brides on a budget and borrowed something blue for Indianapolis. And we're actually going to be in some Indianapolis bridal shows this spring and this summer and even the fall to kind of just break into that market. I would love to have an operation in Indianapolis as far as catering, and I definitely see opportunity for meal prep down there. They have, again, some great companies that are doing meal prep service, but it's more for bodybuilders and, very strict, health-minded people, as opposed to, this is pretty healthy for my family kind of thing that we're trying to do. So we'll see what happens there. I do want to break into that Indianapolis market and see what they have to offer. And every day is research. And I hear all the time there's not great catering available in Fort Wayne. There's not catering available in Kokomo, Bloomington, all these other places. That would be awesome, but
How far of an area do you cover now? Do you cover like Anderson, Marion, Newcastle?
We have been everywhere. I mean, we've been to Fort Wayne for a few events. We've even been in Ohio last year a couple times. The furthest we drove was 4 hours last year for a wedding into close to Cincinnati. And that was a little bit difficult. We did have to plan that menu around traveling with the food that long. Thank goodness we do have all the equipment we need to do that, but it would be easier with, locations closer, but that's definitely a long-term goal.
Yeah, I can imagine the stress of catering a wedding. Jill and I have photographed a few weddings, and we always said we never would do it. Then we got to do one, and, it worked out, and now we enjoy doing them, but the food, we can edit pictures, but the food's off.
There are two things that could make or break the day. It's the food and the DJ. Yeah. I mean, that's the truth. And as many as we've done, we've seen it go both ways. So, I'm very lucky. I don't think I've had ever any complaints. If I have, it's been minor stuff, like there weren't salt and pepper shakers, which most venues provide those. So, in between a couple other minor things, all around good reviews.
Yeah.
We want to know if not, and we'd obviously want to fix that, but so far I've not had to have any issues with that.
Good deal. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Talking about your business and all that you guys are doing in the community. It's good stuff. How can people either contact you or follow you on social media?
So we have Once Upon a Plate Catering and events on our Facebook page. That's pretty much all the social media we do. All of my contact information is available there. Honestly, emails or text messages are the easiest way, quickest way to get a hold of me. Phone calls, I'm terrible about looking at voicemails, and I guess that's kind of a lost courtesy anymore. A lot of people don't respond to voicemails, but I do try. So Victoria at onceuponaplate.com is my email, and my cell is 765-744-6069.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I have had food from Once Upon a Plate Catering. It's fantastic. Recommend the taco bar. As always, you can contact me with comments, the Jake Sewell Podcast at gmail.com, on Instagram at the Jake Sewell Podcast, and on Twitter at the JS Podcast. Thank you.